Welcome to the European Innovation Council Podcast Series, where we discuss some of the hot topics surrounding game-changing deep tech innovation. Today, we're shining the spotlight on women of innovation and tech, in celebration of women's outstanding contributions to innovation and entrepreneurship across Europe and beyond. So, who do we have with us here today? We have Rana, Sanyal and Julia Bialetska, both winners of the EU Women Innovators Prize. Rana was the overall winner, and Julia the winner of the EIC Women Leadership category. Thank you, ladies, very much for joining us this morning. First of all, I'd like to ask you, can you give us a little bit more detail around why you were awarded this prize? And for this, maybe we'll start with Rana.
Hi, everybody. This is Rana Sanyal. I'm a scientist. My company is RS Research, and RS Research does targeted drug delivery for cancer. We make nanomedicines specifically targeting tumors, trying to reduce the side effects for patients, and at the same time cure the tumors and have healthy people. So that's what we do.
Fantastic, a very noble project indeed. And the same question for you, Julia. Why did you receive this prize?
Hi, everyone. First of all, very happy to be here. So thank you for the invite. And my name is Julia. I'm CEO and co-founder of SLab. And in SLab, we develop a truly green packaging solution that can fully replace foamed plastic. And thus we are working towards biodegradable and regenerative materials.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Julia. And you were particularly awarded the award in the Women Leadership category. So that implies that you're a very, very strong leader, Julia. Can you explain a little bit more what kind of things they asked you in order to award you this prize?
That's a good point. I hope that I'm a strong leader, and that's what I would like to see myself as well. As I think leadership is a key to many things, where we can build a better future and achieve so many things with the proper leadership. And I believe that everyone can be a leader if you put an effort to that and develop those skills in yourself. And I think jury in my case, was looking into how do I implement those leadership skills and how do I use them in my company with my team. What measures do we have, or what actions do I do in order to develop not only myself as a leader, but every team member as an individual, and then as a whole team, I would say. So of course, I think that what was evaluated, and also me being like a role model for others, not only inside of the team, but in a bigger circle, I would say. So of course, I'm sure that they saw my impact into others, and that also contribute to others being better leaders or building their startups or innovation.
Fantastic. Thank you, Julia. And Rana, I'm going to bring back a similar question to you. Do you think that women bring a different perspective to innovation?
Absolutely, yes. So there is this whole thing of multitasking with women, and the way we see the big picture. So both of these qualities, I think, makes women one step ahead in STEM fields: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So when you have these qualities, you get ahead in science. But then innovation is not just an invention, but also application of that invention for greater good. You need to have some application of the invention to call it an innovation. And the inherent compassion and the vision, the big picture vision of women, I think really helps out with that.
Fantastic. And another question for you, Rana. How could we encourage more women to innovate in the way that you and Julia have done?
We need to support the people who are interested in these innovations, who are interested in doing something, who are interested in doing something different. One is by promoting everyone equally, we don't really get new inventions to the world. So we need to really push, help, or aid the people who are really trying to make a difference. It's almost like the fastest running horses. You need to really pave the way for them. So one, I think, is this idea that we need to help the people who are the forerunners for innovation, for inventions. The other one is, especially if we are interested in having women doing inventions, innovations, it's a matter of seeing that it is possible. So we need role models and really promote the role models. When people see that it is possible for a woman to do something like this, there's always this thing that, oh, something cannot be done. There's the stigma that you think you want to do something, but it is impossible. So when you see someone as a role model, for example, in my field, I'm a chemist, scientist. So usually if you ask an elementary school kid to draw the picture of a scientist, what they do is they draw this white-haired old guy with a long lab coat with the hair sticking out. You can imagine there was an explosion and his hair is sticking out, test tubes in his hand. So I'm that chemist, okay? And I don't look like that at all. I mean, I know this is a podcast, so you cannot see me, but not old white-haired guy with hair sticking out of my head.
Fantastic indeed. Thank you very much, Rana. And we'll bring the conversation back to Julia. Julia, do you think that women bring different qualities to leadership? And if so, what do you think they are?
Definitely. First of all, I think that everyone brings a very different perspective to leadership based on many factors, like how we were raised, what education did we get, even culture, mindset plays a role into that. So I think different perspective is not only based on the gender, but on all of these factors. And if I look into women specifically as leaders, I think that based on our nature and how we were again raised and educated, women have a very high level of self-awareness, high resilience, and we've been very proactive and very collaborative with each other. And I think this is the word that I would describe women leadership. It is collaborative nature and collaborative perspective. And I actually once read about the experiment with the escape rooms where they had one group of only women and another group with only men. And there were several groups, of course. And of course, they observed how those groups tried to solve the escape room to basically solve the quiz. And while women were trying to solve the quiz and get through this escape room, they constantly communicate with each other and explain their views, what they are doing, how they are thinking on each specific task. And I think that helps them to solve the escape room actually faster in a more collaborative kind of networking manner. So I think this skill is what women can bring to the table at this kind of critical time where we want to build a better future, where we have so many issues that we need to tackle immediately.
Fantastic, Julia. That's a lovely, lovely message. And here I have a question for both of you. How has winning this award changed things for you, if at all? I hope it has. And could you tell us a little bit about that?
I often say that this leadership award was is my kind of Nobel Prize, because, from childhood, I always wanted to be a leader and to see a change and to be the leader of the change. So I think that makes me extra proud of myself. But of course, like on a bigger level, I understand that this recognition is also for my team and because of my team. So of course, I wouldn't be able to do anything without them.
Fantastic. That's very heartwarming. Thank you, Julia. And the same question for you, Rana. Has winning this award changed anything for you or for your company?
What did it change for the company? There was huge recognition from the country, from the Ministry of Science and Technology in my country. And then there was very interesting invitations from different countries. So I got to speak in STEM Africa, for example. An event was organized in Nigeria. That's the largest STEM organization in Africa. I could talk to young people and their parents about science. So this is something I really love doing. And I don't think I would have had this platform if this award wasn't there, because I absolutely did not know a single person from Nigeria before. So this is how it turned out, and I was very happy with that whole event.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing, Julia and Rana. Do you foresee a time when awards specifically for women won't be necessary?
I would love to see that there's a day where we don't need to highlight women in any role, that it is not extraordinary to do any of these things as a woman. I think that's far off as well, unfortunately. But there is this whole thing of when we are highlighting women and really showing them as role models, they're not only role models for girls or younger women, they are role models for men as well. So it is not a matter of showing women only for women, but it's a matter of showing, encouraging people to get into science and technology fields for STEM. And it is to overcome inequalities. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's a man versus woman thing, but it is any kind of inequality can be overcome. That is the, I think, message that I get when I see these awards that are specifically for women.
Fantastic. Thank you, Rana. And Julia, same question for you.
I have totally the same view on that I wish to see the time where, different awards for different groups are not needed, where we are so equal, where we can just recognize innovation leadership, no matter what gender. But at the same time, if we talk about awards specifically for women, I think a gender gap is too big at the moment, still too big. And I always say that I was very privileged to have access to education, being treated the same way as anyone else in my group, at the school, at the university, at home. I was never biased or never felt those stereotypes that you are a woman, so this is your role. I always knew that I can be anyone I want, but the real situation in the world is not like that. And I always say I was very lucky to experience it in a different way.
Fantastic. Thank you, Julia. And I'm just going to hone in on what you said about role models and the importance of being a role model. Rana mentioned that she also is a full-time professor at a university, so she is clearly inspiring many young people, and that's amazing to hear, and also in Nigeria. And Julia, do you also act as a role model, or do you do any activities where you're in contact with young people in order to inspire and motivate them towards a similar career to you?
I would say that for me, it starts on a much more personal level first, because I have two daughters. They are 6 and 10 years old. And of course, I am their first role model that they see in their life because I'm their mother. So obviously, they are looking into me, into my path, into my career. And I already see that they understand that they also can be anyone they want to be in the future. It doesn't have to be affected by someone or something. They have just to choose. So, of course, for me, it starts with this very personal level, as many things that I do towards promoting women leadership, inclusion, diversity is for them. But then, of course, other than that, I always want to be also this inspiration, role model, and sharing experience with others, with, of course, students at schools, at the universities. I'm often invited to do the panel discussion, the speech, or some kind of workshop based on our journey. In SLab, we've been able to raise funding from investors. We've been building our venture for quite some time. We are innovating in the technology field, in the material field. So, of course, I'm always very open to share this experience. And I see the results already, that many of those people that I was able to talk to during those sessions, workshops, they come back to me and tell me that they opened the venture or they succeeded in something specifically.
Fantastic. Thank you, Julia. And Rana, last question to you. I discovered in our small chat before we started the recording that you have 2 boys. You're the mother of 2 boys. And I'd like to just ask you, obviously this podcast is about women. So what role do you think that men play in making sure that we live in an equal world?
I think they have a bigger responsibility because it is one thing to ask for something, and it's something else when the party who is going to give volunteers it. I do live with my two boys, husband and father, so I'm in a house with four men and me. So you can imagine that if I was to ask for every single thing, it would have been an impossible life for me. Without their support, I wouldn't be able to do any of these things that I'm doing. So the two boys in my life, I'm mom first, before being a scientist, before being the chief science officer of a company or the founder of the company. So I think being mom comes first for many things, but without the support within my house or without the support of men in general, I don't think it is possible to do anything, because it's not just the female world that we are trying to, do something. Especially in fields like these very deep tech, high technology fields, we need everybody. We need everybody, under the sun to be able to move these things, to make a difference.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I love that as a final message as well, Rana. Because we have this famous saying that behind every great man is a great woman. And we can also turn that around and say behind every great woman. And in your case, it's a great household full of good men. So
Yes.
thank you very much for that last message. And that brings us to the end of our podcast, ladies. Thank you very much for joining us, and best of luck in your future endeavors. And please do continue to inspire us and generate award-winning innovation. And thank you also to our listeners out there. Until the next time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.